Hello Stampin' friends, Trina Brower here today with another quick video talking about something that I mentioned during my blog a couple of days ago. I worked on the Hello Hollyhocks online exclusive kit from Stampin Up, and these were the cards that I made. I loved the kit. It was great. There was no stamping involved. It was simply let's punch out your die cuts and put it together according to the instructions. The card that I really liked was this one right here. And I had mentioned something about the fact that I would like to see if I could do something similar with what I had. So I did. Here it is. Here's the card we're going to make today. It is one that I used an old stamp set from 2016 called Balloon Celebrations. But this is what I kind of used as my template to make this card here. So let me kind of put this over to the side for right now. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I used to make that card. First of all, let's start with the designer series paper that I used. And this is it right here. It was called Polka Dot Parade. And believe it or not, that was like from 2012. Okay, so these were the colors that I had left. There was also Real Red was part of the color combination, but obviously I have used that over the last 12 years. So let's kind of go through them. This was Rich Razzleberry. Then of course we had the Daffodil Delight. Then we had Old Olive, Marina Mist, and then Pumpkin Pie. And this is the back side, I don't know how well you can see it, of these colors. But of course I chose to use the tiny polka dot size for what I was going to do. Okay. So the next thing then that I thought, okay, I've got to start looking to make my frame. How am I going to do that to match this frame here? So I pulled out, excuse my arms, my stitched rectangles. And here they are. I might make this just a little bit smaller so you can see it a little bit more. If I can get it to cooperate with me. Doesn't seem like it wants to. Let's see. Ooh, that's almost too far away. So let's see if we can't make it a little bit bigger. Uh-oh. Okay. And let's go there. Okay. Kind of move it up a little. There we go. So I had my stitched rectangles right here, and I picked out two of them. And the two that I picked were this size right here. Now I have a pretty strong magnet on my die cutting machine, so I didn't have to use washi tape to keep these two together. And this is how I decided I was going to make my frame. So it would be something similar to my template here. And once you go ahead and cut that out, this is what you're going to end up with. I, of course, was using just a scrap piece of Whisper White or basic white cardstock, and I didn't really worry about how I was lining it up. But now that I have this piece left, I'll trim this up a little bit and I'll have a nice little frame for something else that I want to do. The other part that you have left is this right here. This was in the center. That's another piece that I'll be able to use on another card. So I like those two things. But this is really what I wanted to end up with, was my little piece of this to match that. Okay, so that was the next step in my card. Then I'm going to start looking for, let's put this over to the side, I got to start looking for a stamp set or die cuts or something that was long like this. Well, I didn't want flowers necessarily. So I got to looking, and this was the old Balloon Celebrations. Let me show you that. I don't know if I can get it in camera very well. And this was just, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it was from 2016. It is a great little set. I haven't used it as much as I should. But of course, the way you can use it is, it also came, or you could purchase a punch that coordinated with it. So you get two balloons out of it. Now, if you want, I ended up, as you can see on this card, just punching out colored cardstock. Now, I could have used white and actually stamped with a lighter color in this and then went with the darker color. But actually, my next step was to take this and I'm going to stamp on it. So let me just do that real quick to get it out of the way. I've got my stuff punched. If I can find it here. Here we go. Got those two punched. I always like to use some type of piercing pad or pad underneath it when I'm using a photopolymer or acrylic stamp set, just to give it a little bit more oomph. So I'm going to be doing these in, I used Granny Apple Green. So let me go ahead and ink that up. And we're going to go ahead and put this right on our little thing. Right there's one of them. Let's do the bigger one, just to give it a little bit more, since I cut this out of cardstock. I wanted to give a little bit more dimension to the balloons. Okay, let me move this stuff to the side. Now I've got my two balloons, so I'm going to set them up here before I lose them. And let's get started on my card. Okay, here's my card once again. Put it up there. And we're going to start off with a plain old thick basic white card that was cut, of course, 8.5 by 5.5. And so it was scored then at 4 1/4. Now I've got my polka dot piece here, and that's of course cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And let's just go ahead and get that on there. Do this real quick. And we're going to put this on my card. I think I got it pretty close. Not really. Once again, let's get this up and out. Let's see if I can't do better this time. Much better. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're ready. Ready for the next step. Of course, the next step is my little frame. And I have already gone ahead and put mini dimensionals on the corners and at the side for my frame. So let's go ahead and take some of those off real quick, the backing. And I cut a mini dimensional in half for these little side pieces because it needed to have a little bit thinner thing than I could get away with at the corners up here. So. Okay, and then I'm going to place this pretty much just about right in the middle of the card. No fancy measuring or anything, just kind of going to eyeball it. And I can kind of use my little polka dots as a little bit of a guide there. So now I've got that down. Now let's get to the fun part. The fun part was actually doing the balloons. So I did with the balloons have to do some, of course, once I stamped this in basic gray, I believe I stamped that image in basic gray, I did have to do fussy cutting. I do not love fussy cutting, but with this, at least they were mainly straight lines, so it wasn't so bad. So what I thought would be easiest was I was going to take my balloons that I have here and my acrylic mat. I love my acrylic mat. And I thought the easiest way to do it was to take my fine tip glue, and I was going to just then kind of glue this area here, which I might go ahead and do right now. Let me move this up so you can see it a little bit better. Because I thought this would be the easiest way to attach my balloons, because otherwise I wasn't sure how I was gonna line them up. So I'm just putting some of this fine tip glue all over, and then I'm just going to kind of lay my balloons on there. Since I'm laying it on this acrylic mat, I'm not too worried about how things look. Same with this one. I'm going to put this one right about there. Now I still have this guy left, and I think I'm going to just add a little bit more glue right here in the middle to hold him down. And it doesn't really matter where I have him hooked, just kind of like that. So this way, I thought it worked out pretty well as far as where I was going to put him on my acrylic, or I mean where I'm going to put my balloons on my little piece. So let me move this to the side and see if I can't find the piece with magic that I've already done, that I have already attached dimensionals to. So let's go ahead and get those peeled off. And I like that punch because it gave you two different sizes of balloons, which I did like. And then also too, I always have some left over. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just wherever I wanted to stick it. So I'm going to put it just about right here. I'm going to stick that down like that. I have added a little bow. I don't know if I have an extra one here. I do. This is just a tiny little bow. And I took a mini glue dot and kind of squished it up. And that's how I've attached it to my card right there, is using the mini glue dot with it. Now we are going to go ahead and I'm going to take just a 1/4 inch, doesn't matter how long, because like me, you're probably using scraps. So I just cut something at 1/4 of an inch. And that's going to be how I'm going to attach my happy birthday. This is actually cut at 2 3/8 by 1 inch. But once again, if you're using your scraps, no problem. You're just going to trim it off with however long your sentiment happens to be. And you're just going to go ahead and make it the size that you need for that. So let's go ahead though, and I'm going to attach that real quick. I found the easiest way to do it was just to put my stickum on that. And then I am going to line up my happy birthday. Let me get me up here where you can see it. So I kind of have an idea where it's going to go. And I can always then trim off extra if I need to, which I do. So if I can find my scissors, we're going to just trim that off and make them about even. I may end up trimming off the other side a little bit too. Yeah, I think I will. Just trim off just a little bit more. Move this out of the way. And now I'm going to attach some more dimensionals on the back of that. And I'm going to, throw stuff around here. And I'm going to add about 3. I like to have about that many. And get the backing off of that. And now I'm placing my happy birthday, came from the same stamp set. And I just stamped it in pumpkin pie. And the colors that I did use this time was pumpkin pie, daffodil delight, and this happens to be granny apple green. Okay, and I'm simply going to place this, I think about right here. Let me get my little ribbon out of the way. Maybe over a little bit more, about right in here. Oops, let's see. Let's make it fairly straight. And then, you know, you always got to add a little bit of bling. And this was some old bling that I had from Stampin' Up. Who knows, like so much of my stuff, who knows how long that's been since I've had this. But these, I'm not sure if you can see them. Maybe you can if I put my hand. They were little hearts or little stars. Now on my original, I put the hearts on there. But I think this time we're going to just add some of the stars. And it doesn't really matter where I'm going to put them. Put one up here, I think. And so, of course, you're just going to find whatever you have in your stash that you think would coordinate with whatever designer series paper that you decided to use. And there we go. And remember, I still had an extra little balloon. So I'm going to add that. Just put a little bit of stickum on it. And I'm going to add that to the inside. And if I was smart, I would have had my little marker here, because I will put and make it look like that. Here we go. I have one here. So it makes it look like it has a line. I'm going to go ahead and just put a little line like the string is around it, and then just draw it down that way. So now I've got a little bit of a decoration inside my card. So there we have it. Let me move all of my junk out of the way. And there we have the 2 cards, all from my inspiration from this card right here. I know, totally different, doesn't look the same, but I enjoyed doing it, and it was fun to once again pull out some of my old stuff that has been not used as much as it should have. This, of course, is once again Balloon Celebration from 2016, and the designer series paper was from 2012. But I'm sure you can find something similar in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, the new one, that has balloons or anything. Once again, I was just looking for something that had this length. So with the balloons, that's how it was. I don't know how many of these we'll make because I do not enjoy fussy cutting whatsoever. So, but maybe one night I'll sit down and just say, okay, you're going to cut about 10 of them and we'll make some cute little cards. But thank you for watching. I appreciate everything that you guys do whenever you hit like for me, and keep stamping and scrapping. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.